All right, let's move on here. Let's talk about Starscream's level. And you're a Decepticon, so what did you like about Starscream's level?
Well, Starscream is my second favorite Decepticon, besides Soundwave, and I thought his level looked cool. Like I told you, I think I'm still not sure why he has invisibility. I think that's pretty dumb. I think they could have given him something a little bit cooler than that. Because that was kind of Skywarp's thing to make up for, you know, their invisibility was use your imagination. It's like he's teleporting. But now that Starscream has that, I'm wondering if Skywarp's not going to show up.
I would guess
any of
that
the
would be the case.
And, yeah, and why they decided to give him that when we know his ability and escalation is that ammo thing, or that health thing.
Yep.
I thought it was cool how he was running around, you know, it's more of like a stealthy thing, which I think suits Starscream, you know, being the backstabber and all that stuff.
Yep. And did you notice that he was infiltrating Shockwave's base, it looked like?
Yeah, it seems like he's already, is he like a rogue already? Like he already got away from the Decepticons and now he's kind of on his own team, or?
This is what I got out of it. I know we heard Grimlock's levels after that, so I'm guessing he's going to go into Shockwave's base and screw something up with Grimlock. And we've seen something up there and let him out.
Yeah, try to like, because it seemed like from the guy was talking over it when they showed the character switch between Grimlock and Starscream, but it seemed like Starscream was trying to talk him into being on his team, and then when Grimlock refused, it seemed like he just said, okay, you know what, I'm just screw you, I'm not going to deal with you anymore, and then Grimlock breaks out and kicks Starscream's butt.
Yep. And that's kind of cool, and the one thing that I really liked with Starscream's level is how he kicked the Decepticon in the nuts and the bolts.
Yes, that was interesting.
Yes, and through the the detonation pack on his head, and his head blew up.
Yeah, that
was
cool.
Awesome.
It definitely seems like it's going to be a little bit more brutal, or at least with those executions, they seem really. Now all of them were pretty much unique. I mean, you have the guy on the shoulder, and then the other one you put the dead pack on him, and then the other one he kicked him in the nuts. So at least there's some variety there, and it's not, you know, them just using the same animation for everything.
Yep, I agree, and that's key for the variety. So that was kind of what I was looking forward to. And he also said you can play it different ways. You know, you can be that sneaky guy, flap on a ledge, use a sniper because he does have the null ray.
Yeah.
And then, or you could just jump down, shotgun everybody or something, and then just fly away. You know.
The problem I do have with the whole Starscream thing, and I know this is kind of a minor nitpick, but Steve Bloom, who is my favorite voice actor, and he does the voice of Barricade, and he actually narrates like this whole game. He looks like he's returning, and he does the voice of Starscream in Transformers Prime, but it doesn't sound like they went with him for this game. It sounds like it's the same Starscream from War for Cybertron. So I would have liked to have seen him. Well, I don't know. I would have liked to have seen him, since they're trying to tie him with Prime so much, I would have liked to have seen Steve Bloom do the voice of Starscream. But the guy they have, I don't know who does it, but I think he does a good job too, so I'm not really too stressed out about that. I just would have liked to have seen Steve Bloom as the Starscream.
Yeah, I agree. But I agree. I think overall, of all the levels I saw, Starscream. Can we buy this door? Turtle, do you have any money here you can put in this? You have a lot.
I probably have.
You put some money in there. But overall, I thought Starscream was the most fun-looking level with like the different animations, assassinations he had, the different variety you could use, the different like area platforms you could fly to and just, you know, go up, snipe, jump down, shotgun, buy whatever weapon you're going to use, and just really put it to different uses throughout that whole level.
Well, that's the problem. Like, I see, you know, everyone, they're talking about the Bumblebee level, and the Metroplex thing is cool, but, like, Jazz's level, the, you know, the, whatchamacallit, the grappling hook thing, that really doesn't interest me at all. I don't know why, I just, you know, people are excited about that, they want to see, I just don't like Jazz, I guess, but I don't really care for the grappling hook or, you know, going somewhere to snipe down. I'm more interested in the
maybe because
Vortex
it seems levels. Maybe because that one seems a little bit more scripted. I feel like you can only grappling hook maybe in certain different spots.
You're gonna have to swing over, you know, chasms or something like that, and grapple into like an air pipe or something like that. I don't know. It just seems like it's not gonna have as much freedom because I'm sure there's gonna be only certain places you can grapple. And with Starscream, you know, the flyers, they can go everywhere, do anything. It just seems like a lot more freedom and a lot more, I don't know, play it your own way. Because with Jazz, we know he's going to have to be grappling and then like stealthy with the sniper. But with Starscream, it seems like you can just do whatever you want anytime. So
Yeah, I also agree with that. You have more freedom, and it doesn't seem as scripted. I'm wondering. I hate to keep bringing this up, but I wonder if that will be his ability in like multiplayer, the grappling hook. Like, are there going to be like different grappling hook, like specific areas on each map, or what?
Well, that's the problem. I'm wondering if any of. Well, I know you're talking about escalation, but I'm wondering if any of. You know, are you going to be able to use like Megatron's shield in multiplayer? Is that going to be an ability? Or Starscream's, you know, health regenerating ammo beacon thing, is that going to be an ability? I'm not sure.
See, I would see, like, I can't... High Moon, I feel like they're, like, gonna stick everything in everything. They did it in this game. They stuck everything in everything. They just kind of balanced the characters on what each could use for abilities. Right. But I don't think there's one ability in here, or the campaign, that's not in multiplayer.
Exactly. But now with, like, the much more unique abilities catered to every, you know, character's unique attitude, I'm wondering if they're going to carry those over to multiplayer when you're not actually going to be playing as those characters. Because they don't even have their abilities from campaign and escalation, so I'm not sure if the only place we'll be able to use their awesome abilities is in campaign, or if that's going to carry over to multiplayer, like I said.
Yeah, very true. And at the end of this, the last thing we will touch on is some, like, rumors that I've heard for multiplayer, but we won't touch on that till the end. Just wanted to mention that because we are talking about multiplayer quite a bit. Yeah. And then let's move on here from Starscream's level. We saw a little bit. We didn't see much of him. At least I didn't see much of him in his Vortex's level.
Yeah, I've seen, you know, it's something they keep on showing in like the trailers a little bit of, but I still don't know what's happening. I think it ends with him, you know, forming Bruticus or something like that, or it starts with that. I'm not sure, because it always seems like every time Vortex is shown, Bruticus is shown as well, so I don't know if that's going to be part of that level, or what's going on there.
I would guess, because, in all honesty, Vortex is probably my least excited that I'm looking for.
Yeah. I think it's like, cool that he's like the, I don't want to call him like a triple changer, because all he's doing is like hovering, but it looks like he changes 3 times, so I think that's pretty cool. And he is like the first helicopter we're ever going to get in a...
Didn't even look like his helicopter mode was that useful, though.
Well, yeah,
honesty.
That's the problem. It could be like Grinder, where, you know, flying and being able to hover still in Revenge of the Fallen might actually not be a good thing. Because you don't want to get lit up, you know. Maybe moving forward at super speed, like all jets have to do, is like the way to go.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be curious to see. I think I'm more or less looking forward to him and his brothers combining into Bruticus, and we'll see what happens with that. Alright, let's not talk about Vortex any longer, because there wasn't too much on him. He jumps down Shockwaves. We all seen Shockwave before.
Yeah, new animation for Shockwave, it looks like, or that might just be exclusive for him.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be, though. They'll have that probably. What does he, like, spin kind of like a punch, it looks?
Yeah, it does like a little roundhouse punch or something like that.
Alright, that should be pretty cool. Let's move on to my personal favorite character of all time.
Here we go.
King Grimlock, and the true king of everyone. So we saw him. He's got a very unique style. We all know right now. He doesn't have a gun. He's got the sword and the shield. So what do you think about that? I guess just him with the sword and the shield, and kind of levels totally different.
I don't know if it's just because they've showed so much of him, but I'm actually getting bored already with Grimlock. I think it'll be fun to play, you know, for the first little bit, but all of his sword animations, it looks like he has one combo, he has one execution for everyone. So I'm hoping that level doesn't drag out too long, because I feel like I've already seen the whole thing from start to finish.
I think it's something that you more or less have to actually play and not watch.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll feel awesome, and that's, like, when I heard they're adding a whole Grimlock, or not Grimlock, a whole melee-based character, I was actually hoping that they would carry that over and maybe expand on the melee beyond, you know, the Call of Duty quick knife-like system they have now. It doesn't look like it's going to be that way. It looks like Grimlock's the only one that's going to be able to do combos, but I
feel like we haven't seen it all either, so don't sell them short on that.
Yeah.
Because they didn't...
I'm sure there's like the whole what's that Insecticon that they added. I forget what his name is, but
I think they had to change the name legally.
In there.
Yeah,
that was another thing that I noticed. That was pretty cool.
And So that's pretty cool. I think the Rage will be cool because I saw some pretty sweet fatalities when he was a dinosaur or T-Rex.
Everything did look amazing. I don't want it to sound like I'm hating on the gameplay. It's just I've seen so much of them. That's the only thing they ever show now. So I was happy to see new stuff at E3 because the only thing they've ever talked about or shown is Grimlock. So
yeah, and my favorite fatality that I saw was he stuck one of the Insecticons through his tail and then he roasted marshmallow.
That was awesome. That was good. I love that one. Everything he does, like all the different fatalities on the different enemies, is cool.
I agree. So we can all agree Grimlock's going to be awesome. All right, let's move on here. What do we got? I guess we can talk about we talked about the Teletran store with like all the different weapons you can buy, you can upgrade. But let's talk about. They don't really mention it a whole lot, so I don't know how much we're going to be able to talk about. But the customization.
Yes, something I'm interested in because customization for me is a big thing. And I've always been kind of torn with, you know, in this game there wasn't really much customization, but with what they're making it sounds like it's going to be a lot more in depth. But the problem I have is when it comes to like Transformers, I really couldn't care less about being able to make my own. I think it'll be fun to, you know, get in there and mess around with the tools and everything. But I really want to just play as the real Transformers, and I know they're not going to do that, which kind of bums me out. Because in multiplayer, you have to play as a custom character, it sounds like. So
I don't think so, because that G1 pack is offered in multiplayer for Optimus.
Well, it is true, yeah. But that could just be, you know, the parts to make Optimus. Maybe you'll be able to, now that it's more in-depth, you'll be able to make an exact, like, replica of a real person.
I think there's going to be presets. There's got to be. They wouldn't do that.
Well, that's the thing I liked about Dark of the Moon was, you know, that you had the actual characters, and then you could take them and then make them your own if you wanted to. And that's one of the things I really like.
I think we're going to see that returning, because, like me, I am on your level with this one, because I personally like all the Transformers. I want to be Optimus. I want to be Starscream. You know, those are the people that I want to be. I'm not as much into the customization as a lot of people are, but it's going to be cool. I'm definitely going to do a lot of it, but I still want to be, if I feel like it, you know, like Bumblebee or whoever, you know? I want to be those guys.
I think it's great to have that option for those who want it, you know, and I love, like, all I do in games with customization, like, I'll probably customize more than I'll actually play the game. Like in Soul Calibur, like, I never even fought in that game, I just made characters. But, you know, at the same time, I also want to play as the actual people, because, like, a Dragon Ball Z game, I got it for some reason, because my friend got it, and, you know, they let you make your own Super Saiyan Dragon Ball character. And I never did that because, you know, I don't want to make my own. I want to play as the characters that I watched when I was a little kid, you know, growing up. And I watched, like, you know, 400 plus episodes or whatever. I want to play as those people. I don't want to play as a nameless clone of an already existing person just repainted a different color.
Yeah, I agree. See, I don't think they're going to do that because this game seems very based on Transformer hardcore fans. I mean, in my opinion, it looks like that, and I think there's going to be presets for each character.
That's the problem.
I mean,
it seems like
that doesn't make
so
sense
personalized that I would find it hard to believe that they wouldn't let you play as the iconic characters, because, you know, now that they all have their unique abilities and everything, it seems like they put more time into making them unique. Because in this game, you know, everyone, like, you can use Shockwave, even the iconic characters, pretty much in, like, escalation, so there wasn't a really big reason to have different characters. But if, like, Megatron is the only person that can use that shield, then I could see him actually allowing you to be Megatron in multiplayer.
Or a customization of Megatron's, like, preset. Like, you can totally just change it. I just can't see them not having the real characters. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's going to happen, and you can stand by it. I'm that confident.
If they do, I will be happy.
And okay, so we touched, and they also said there'd be you could spend hours. I heard thousands. You said you heard millions of different customization parts.
The problem with that is, you know, I suck at math. I failed like every year, but I know if you know take each option and you know you look at how many options you do have, it always sounds like it's a bigger number than it actually feels like when you're playing a game. So I think, you know, like they're actually saying how many options you can get, but I don't think it's going to be as expansive as they're trying to make it sound. Because it just seems like they've already done so much. I don't know where they would have found the time to make all those different heads and pieces, and how they would make every transformation, you know, look like that can actually happen. Because if you have, you know, a skinny guy with giant, like, shoulder pads, how's that going to affect your transformation? Are they just going to, like, cheap it out and, you know, everything magically disappears, or...
I did hear him talk. It's different parts for, like, the scout, different parts for the soldier. Yeah. Because it can't work like that. It wouldn't. You know, it's like...
Right.
Like you said, there's got to be some limitations on there, and you got to expect that. I mean, I wouldn't...
So that's why, like, just because of that, like, if you can make your own, you know, they didn't transform, I could see it being crazy, but the whole fact that they gotta form everything into a nice compact vehicle and make it look like it makes sense, that's why I don't think there's gonna be anything crazy. But it does sound like they definitely expanded on it a lot more than it is in this game. Because in this game, I mean, it's just repaint an existing guy. So
yeah, it's not really customization. It's kind of paint jobs. And... well, we got a guy coming up with a ion displacer, but one other thing I kind of want to touch on before we're talking for a very, very long time here. So, one last thing let's touch on is the rumors that I heard in multiplayer. And first off, I heard the game. Well, they let you play multiplayer at E3. Wasn't there. I didn't get to play it. So this is coming from somebody that got to play it. I don't know how this will stand up, or if this was just like them kind of testing it out, you know?
Yeah. And
they did say that in the game modes, I don't know if, I'm hoping there's a big team battle, but for other game modes, they're adding a player to each side. So it's going to be 6-on-6 and not 5-on-5. That's what I heard. That's one rumor, so don't quote me. What are your thoughts? Is that better? Is that worse? I don't know. What do you think?
I don't really know. I mean, I didn't even know what the like how many people can fight each other. Is 5-on-5 in here?
Yep, it's 5-on-5.
Yeah. So see, I didn't even know that because I don't pay attention.
Okay.
So I don't think that's gonna make a big change to me. I remember like freaking out when they said that about Gears of War. It wasn't gonna be 4-on-4. It was gonna be 5-on-5. And it does feel different from, you know, but that's Gears of War, so I don't know if it's gonna make a difference in this game or not.
I feel like it's gonna feel more like a war, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Like but I'm sure you can do custom games if you want to do, like, I know a lot of people. I'm not into it. A lot of people love doing the clan battles.
Yeah.
So they'll probably do like custom games and stuff. You can. Wow, this guy won't die. But you can probably just pick what you want to do with that. And I heard the maps were a lot bigger. Also, that's another thing. Well, you guys are both down.
Yeah. This guy's almost dead. That's on top of me though. But yeah, I have terrible luck, so the more people shooting bullets everywhere, the worse I'm probably gonna do. So that might be a bad thing for me, but I'm not gonna know until I experience it, I guess.
Yeah. And another thing I did hear is Warcry is back. I heard that. But I heard there's no like rage for it. I also
like I don't have a problem with the idea of Warcry. I think, you know, having a thing based on, or a class based around helping his teammates and, you know, being able to buff them is fine. I just don't think that they understood how strong they made Warcry.
Yeah.
Or, you know, how OP it was. So if it gets toned down and made, I don't want it to be, you know, made almost useless. Like, I mean, I would, but I don't want that for people that like the ability.
Yeah.
You know, it was pretty terrible in Dark of the Moon. So I don't think they need to nerf it that much. They just need to make it not stupidly overpowered.
Yep, and I think that the timer needs to be, I feel like there needs to be, it's got to be used more strategically so that it lasts only like 10 seconds at most, like, because it lasts way too long. The length on it is just crazy, because you can be fighting a leader forever and ever and just meleeing him over and over and over and it's not doing anything. And you're going to die even though you're the better player. And it's just kind of like, okay. I just meleeed this guy 3 times and he managed to connect after my 3rd melee, punching him 3 times in a row. He managed to connect on 1 melee and he killed me. Yeah. So it's kind of like, really? You know, it makes people not want to play, in all honesty. It's kind of like, okay, that's stupid. I'm not playing this game anymore.
Well, that was kind of, you know, the skill based, or the skill versus, you know, the like dumb luck of, you know, Revenge of the Fallen or War for Cybertron. It's, you know, that was one of those things that made the game so unbalanced by itself, and there was no real skill involved. You know, you just put this on, And you can be a terrible player, but as long as you got this like almost invincibility on you, it doesn't really matter. It makes up for your terrible lack of skill, and I'm hoping if that gets nerfed, then Warfare Cybertron will be a little bit more skill-based instead of rewarding overpowered, you know, combos like Warcry and the Magma Frag.
Yeah, I agree. I guess, is there anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah. I did notice that they have a new health system. Or at least that was with Megatron. It seems like you have the Halo 1 health system of having a health bar and a shield. So that's very interesting to me. Because, as everyone knows, I love the infinitely regenerating health and ammo from Warfare Cybertron Dark of the Moon, and I'm really upset that you have to pick up ammo. I mean, when have you ever seen a Transformer reload? You know, I haven't. In any of the series I've watched, I've never seen any Transformer worried about ammo before. So I think that's pretty retarded, but I saw, you know, I hated having to pick up health cubes and all that stuff too in War for Cybertron, but now that it's a little bit more of a hybrid system of a regenerating shield and a health bar that you have to preserve, I think that looks a little bit more interesting.
See, I like that. I like the cubes. I like the ammo because, for one reason, it adds team base. It adds different things you can give to the soldier, ammo beacon. You can give the scientist healing, and it adds a team aspect in the game. It's not just your...
In Revenge of the Fallen, you had healing too, and they had regenerating. You know, Ratchet could heal you. I think you can still have healing with, you know, regenerating health.
Yeah, but that's not really... That's for yourself, more or less. I'm talking, like, you can actually contribute to, like... It feels like you're actually in a war and, like, fighting together, because you're supposed to be fighting, like, with each other as Autobots and Decepticons. In, like, that type of style, it was more or less for yourself. And I like the ability to be like, oh, dude, you need ammo? Let me give you ammo. You know, or you need health? I'll throw down some health for you because you can't have it, but you can provide me with something. Yeah. You know? I don't know. I like that aspect.
It does do that, but I just like... I've grown so accustomed to when everyone, you know, switched over from the health thing to regenerating health. It just feels so natural for me now to have a modern game without that. It just feels kind of jarring for me.
You know what? Okay, I'll give you something that we can probably both agree on here is with this double bar thing, you're not gonna just get killed instantly in the back.
Right, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping, you know, if you're stupid enough to run around without, you know, your shield back like you would in like Halo 1 or Halo Reach, then you deserve to die. But I'm hoping with this extra layer of armor, it looks like you'll be able to get more life out of low life classes like the Scientist or something. So, and that'll also involve a little bit more skill, you know, managing your shield bar, not just going crazy with it and being careless and running out when it's, you know, you have no shield or anything. So at least that adds a little bit of the regeneration with the health cubes.
Can you buy this little bit of overshield for me quick?
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree. I just want I want to be able to turn around. I don't want the Call of Duty. I want the skill gap. I want there to be a chance for me to be like, okay, you had your chance to kill me instantly, or, I mean, you had your chance to get the first shot at me, but I have a chance to turn around and fight, because I'm a giant robot, and, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's the problem I have with it, and I think I told you this, like, when you're in an intense one-on-one, and, you know, you're both at, like, 10% health, and you're about to kill the guy, you're about to beat him, and then he accidentally backs up onto a health cube. And, you know, there's nothing you can do at that point.
I think I laughed when you told me that, though.
Back. Yeah, he just gets 6 bars, and then you're still at 10. And there's no way you can get that back. You know, he took the cube. So you, who would have won, are now sitting there defenseless against this guy who, dumb luck, you know, accidentally backed up onto a health cube.
You said the word that I said, that I was going to say, dumb luck. Yeah. That's... You know how often I'm gonna say that doesn't happen that often.
Well, even if you're trying to take out, you know, like a scientist, and you almost have him one shot away from death, and he flies and lands on a health cube. I just hate that. I hate people getting saved so easily, just because they are in a good location. They can, or they're a class that can get to a health cube quickly. I think that kind of destroys the whole intensity of, you know, you're both trying to conserve your health bar and stuff like that.
Okay. I guess, I don't know. I like it. I like the team aspect of it. I like the hunt and chase with the cube. So I guess to each his own on that one.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah, I guess. I can see your point, but I hope you can see my point as well. I understand, like, that you hate... I know you. Well, I get what you're saying. Like you hate like that you can just run away, but I mean, in any game you can kind of just run away. I mean, it's just different.
Is it Battlefield that has? I don't know if it's Battlefield because I know they have medics in there, but I think that also has regenerating health, and it's kind of the Revenge of the Fallen. You know, heal people that might be able to heal themselves, but because you can heal them quicker, that adds the like neediness for your class. But you know, because you can heal them a lot faster, and they can heal themselves, but they don't completely just do away with regenerating health.
Yeah, I guess that's a totally different style, though. I mean, that's more or less a point-and-shoot game. You're gonna die instantly type style too.
Well, that's what War for Cybertron feels like to me. I die instantly. That's the problem I have. You know, another thing is the quickness that you die so quick in this game. I think healing is pretty useless. I'd say. I know you love to run around and heal, but for me, I mean, if you die in 2 shots, you spend 20 seconds getting your health back up, and then you go out there to die in 2 shots. It just doesn't seem worth it to me to have a healing class or any healing abilities, unless they're going to extend the health, where you can actually last, like Revenge of the Fallen. You can actually, have some pretty intense 20 or 30-second battles instead of just getting one-shotted like you can in this game. I think then I would justify, having a healing class, but if you die that quick, like, you can't heal each other in Call of Duty because you just die that quick in Call of Duty.
Yeah, but
Call of Duty knows that, but in this game it seems like they think that you're gonna survive longer. Well, that's all War for Cybertron is, and I know I'm gonna piss people off, but all it is to me, and you can see it everywhere, is they ripped off Call of Duty completely. So
in a couple aspects,
they find
I agree.
Their own, like, I don't know, their own form, I guess.
They maybe ripped off Call of Duty, but they did it better than Call of Duty, in my opinion.
Yeah, they did. But it still feels too much like Call of Duty for me to, and that's the problem I have with it. The whole thing just feels like the type of game I hate because of Call of Duty.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like a hybrid, I would say. If you're gonna compare first-person shooters, it'd be like between Call of Duty and Halo, in my opinion, because there is skill gap in it. There is.
Because that's where the fun comes for me from, is like the Halo part, but then the frustration comes from the super unbalanced die in 2 second Call of Duty part.
It comes from the weapon balancing issues, so that's why.
Which is a big thing in Call of Duty, so that's why I keep on, saying that, because Call of Duty weapon balance is a big thing, so that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
And
Alright,
the Martyrdom and the Last Stand and all that stuff is taken straight from Call of Duty.
Yeah, well, that's just, I don't know why they took that stuff. But anyways, let's wrap this up, because this has been going for a long time. Yeah, you got any final thoughts on Fall of Cybertron that you want to say?
It looks amazing. Unreal Engine 3 is making the game look beautiful. All the changes look cool so far. It looks like a lot of just gameplay changes that might appear small, but when they're all together, it might make for a whole different game, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it looks cool. It's going to be the type of game that I know I'm going to probably end up playing the campaign multiple times to, like, I know there's different character variety, and to just experience that character again, because you don't know how long you're going to get to play with them and whatnot, and so I guess that's it. So I hope you guys all like the video. You will see the Turtle of Doom's perspective on Energon TV, and you will see my perspective of these games on my channel, and it will be the same video, so you just wasted another hour listening to this twice. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and have a good day.